We move past the frustration of delayed progress to understand why God's timing now aligns with our spiritual maturity. Recent periods of silence have refined our character, preparing us to carry the weight of the assignment ahead. With tested humility and renewed strength, we step through the doors He is opening. Have you been staring at a closed door for so long that you've started to question your calling? It wasn't a rejection, it was a divine delay. God waited until this exact moment because your character finally matches the massive weight of the assignment ahead of you. One of the hardest lessons in faith is understanding that God's delays are not God's denials. When heaven seems silent, we often assume nothing is happening. But Scripture teaches us the opposite. God is always working behind the scenes. Isaiah chapter 55 verses 8-9 says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord." While we measure time in days, weeks, and years, God measures readiness. Think about Joseph. He dreamed of leadership as a teenager. Yet before becoming governor of Egypt, he experienced betrayal by his brothers, slavery, false accusations, and years in prison. Every closed door seemed unfair, but every delay was building something inside him. Without the prison, Joseph would never have learned patience. Without betrayal, he would never have learned forgiveness. Without responsibility in difficult places, he would never have been ready to govern a nation. The delay wasn't punishment, it was preparation. Sometimes God delays because He's arranging people, circumstances, and opportunities that are beyond our ability to see. Like an orchestra tuning before a concert, each instrument must be ready before the music begins. If one section starts too early, the entire performance loses harmony. God is the perfect conductor. His timing is flawless. So, if a door hasn't opened yet, don't automatically assume God has forgotten you. He may simply be preparing something greater than you imagined. Closed doors often reveal what's happening inside our hearts. Waiting has a way of exposing our character. James chapter 1 verses 2-4 tells us, "The testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete." Notice that God isn't only interested in changing our circumstances. He's changing us. Sometimes we ask God to enlarge our influence, while He's trying to enlarge our character. We ask for promotion, while He's teaching humility. We ask for blessings, while He's teaching gratitude. David spent years caring for sheep before becoming king. Those lonely fields became classrooms. He learned courage by facing lions and bears. He learned dependence by spending countless hours with God. When Goliath appeared, David was already prepared. His victory wasn't created on the battlefield. It was developed in private. The waiting season asks important questions. Can you remain faithful when no one applauds? Can you trust God without visible results? Can you obey when the reward hasn't arrived? Spiritual maturity isn't measured by how loudly we worship during victories. It's measured by how faithfully we trust during silence. God often keeps the door closed until our hearts are strong enough to carry what waits on the other side. Every blessing carries responsibility. Every promotion carries pressure. Every open door introduces new challenges. Luke chapter 16 verse 10 teaches, "Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much." Sometimes we focus only on receiving. God focuses on stewardship. Imagine giving the keys to a powerful vehicle to someone who has never learned to drive. The vehicle itself isn't dangerous. Immaturity is. The same principle applies spiritually. God prepares us because the assignment ahead is heavier than the season we're leaving. Moses spent 40 years in the wilderness before leading Israel. Jesus spent years in quiet preparation before 3 years of public ministry. The disciples spent years walking with Christ before carrying the gospel around the world. Preparation always comes before purpose. When God opens a door, He isn't simply giving us something we wanted. He's entrusting us with something that belongs to Him. That changes everything. Instead of asking, "Why isn't God blessing me yet?" perhaps we should ask, "What is God teaching me before the blessing arrives?" Because when the assignment comes, your preparation will become your confidence. There comes a moment when every piece finally comes together. Not because of coincidence, but because of divine alignment. Romans chapter 8 verse 28 says, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him." Think about Esther. She didn't become queen overnight. Her position, timing, and influence aligned precisely when her people needed someone to stand before the king. Mordecai told her, "Who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this?" Esther chapter 4 verse 14. Those words remind us that God doesn't simply prepare people. He prepares moments. Maybe the people you needed weren't ready before. Maybe your future opportunities haven't developed yet. Maybe your own heart still needs refinement. Now the pieces are aligning. Relationships, wisdom, experience, faith, opportunities. God isn't rushing, He's orchestrating. When the season changes, you'll recognize that many of the events that once seemed random were actually connected all along. Nothing was wasted. Every prayer, every disappointment, every lesson, every tear, God has been weaving them together into something beautiful. When God finally opens the door, walk through it with humility. Remember where He brought you from. Deuteronomy chapter 8 verse 18 reminds us, remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you the ability to produce wealth. Success can become dangerous if we begin believing we achieved it alone. Humility keeps our hearts connected to God. Seasoned humility doesn't mean thinking less of yourself. It means remembering who made everything possible. It means serving others instead of seeking applause. It means remaining teachable. It means continuing to pray even after the miracle arrives. The greatest leaders in Scripture never stopped depending on God. Their strength came from surrender. Their confidence came from obedience. Their influence came from faithfulness. As God opens new doors in your life, carry gratitude instead of pride. Carry compassion instead of comparison. Carry obedience instead of self-reliance. Because every new season is another opportunity to glorify Him. If you've been staring at closed doors, don't lose heart. God hasn't forgotten your name. He knows exactly where you are. He knows exactly what you're waiting for. And He knows exactly when the time is right. The delay was never meaningless. It was shaping your character, strengthening your faith, preparing you for greater responsibility, aligning people and circumstances beyond your vision, and teaching you to walk with seasoned humility. Isaiah chapter 43 verse 19 declares, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up, do you not perceive it?" Perhaps this is your season. Perhaps the very door you've prayed about is closer than you realize. So, remain faithful, keep praying, keep serving, keep trusting, because when God opens a door, no person can shut it. And when He says it's time, nothing can stop His purpose for your life. If this message encouraged you, share it with someone who may be waiting on God's timing. Leave a comment with the words, "I trust God's perfect timing," as a declaration of faith. And remember this. The same God who has carried you through every closed door is the God who knows exactly when to open the next one. Stay faithful, stay hopeful, and may God bless you abundantly.